78, 79, yeah. Okay. A parallelogram is in the family of quadrilaterals. Which means it has 4 sides, it has 4 angles, and it has 360 degrees. Now, you don't have to memorize the number of degrees in an octagon, a hexagon, a dodecagon, whatever. The 2 you need to know is how many degrees in a triangle, which we've known that all along is 180, and how many degrees in a quadrilateral, 360. That's really the only 2 you use a lot. And then when we do circles, their degrees are a little bit different, but you have 360 degrees in a circle. It's a little bit different, but those are the 2 polygons that you need to know. Now, the one that we use, depending on, I've got 2 different versions. There are so many versions of geometers, and I have a few of each. I don't have many sets of many of them, and a lot of them have gotten broken. Okay, probably the geometry you got, the parallelogram I want is number 33. It should be in that lower right-hand corner. If it's not 33, it's probably number 10. Mine is 10. This one's very similar to yours. It's called Geometer, but it's still a little bit different version. But I won't, so most of yours is probably that 33 down there in the corner. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to draw that. And we're going to call it parallelogram A, B, C, D. And you can write them like this. You can do a little parallelogram. Oh, me. Yep. Yeah, but we're good. Okay, it's either number 33 or it's number 10. You see it? Is yours 10? Okay, yours is like the one I've got. See, number 10 or 33 down in that lower right-hand corner. I only have a few, and they're kind of mixed together now. I have like a lot of them that have number 33 and a few of them that had 10. Okay, so parallelogram A, B, C, D. As long as you go around it one way or the other, it's fine. So rule number 1 is, probably wouldn't surprise you, opposite sides are parallel. That's why it's called a parallelogram. Okay, now this has been a long time since we've written this one. So let me get the symbol. Let me get me a clip. So this will stay up. So if they're opposite sides, they're across from each other. So segment AB, you need to listen. Segment AB is parallel to DC. And comma, segment AD is parallel to BC. It's been a while since we've used that notation. That's what that says. And we mark that. Do you remember the symbol? You use arrows. You can do them like this. You can do them like that. You can fill them in. I'm going to fill them in so they show up. That's way back. I think that was that crazy lesson 14 maybe. Bless you. And then I'm going to do this one with 2. You can just leave them like that. You can make them little triangles, or you can fill them in. Just how detailed you want to get. Number 2, opposite, and I'm going to start abbreviating opposite. That'll save us a little bit of time. Angles are congruent. I should have gone on to the other sides, but that's okay. Now, what do they mean by opposite angles? Opposite, and to me, that's the same thing as it is in real life, but maybe it's not. You know, if you'll talk about people sitting across from each other, they're opposite each other. So the angles that are crossed, like angle A, is going to be the same as angle C, congruent. Angle B is going to be the same as angle D. Now, here's an easy rule. A parallelogram is going to always, if it's just a parallelogram, if it's not a square, not a rectangle, it's going to always have an obtuse and an acute. The two acute will be the same. The two obtuse will be the same. So if this is 120, that's 120. If this is 60, this is 60. And they all add up to 360. That's where that all comes into. Now, I should have already done this one, so we can mark them. Angle A is congruent to angle B. Angle D is congruent, angle A is congruent to angle C. I think I said it wrong. And then angle D is congruent to angle B. And I think I can do that a little bit better. Okay. Number 3. Opposite sides are congruent. I mean, I think you can look at that and see that. And that's why I like a real parallelogram, that you don't just draw it with a ruler. Segment AB is going to, these two sides are the same. The ones that are across from each other is congruent to DC. And AD is going to be congruent to BC. Number 4. There's actually 5. I think we're just going to do the 4. That's all we really need today anyway. Now this goes way back. It goes back to parallel lines. You've heard it. Consecutive. It's an oldie. Consecutive angles are supplementary. Now that sounds a lot harder than what we're fixing to say. Now, do you remember what supplementary means? Oh, if you're looking it up, it's going to be probably like lesson 6. It's the angle pairs. It's way back. Is it lesson 6? Is that angle pairs?
The sum equals 180.
You got it. The sum equals 180. Now, consecutive means side together. But look at them. If that one's 120, this is 60. The obtuse one and the acute one are going to add to 180. So the measure of angle A plus, angle A plus the measure of angle, I'm going to come around this way, D equals 180 degrees. Go this way. These two, if they're right next to each other, they add up to 180. Measure of angle D plus measure of angle C equals 180. Measure of angle C plus measure of angle B equals 180. And the last one is A and B. Measure of angle A plus measure of angle B equals 180. Now that's where they get the 360 out of this. Because if these two add to 360, try that again. If these two add to 180 and those two add to 180, 180 plus 180 is 360. Now I can do problem number 1 at the bottom of 78, or I can do it at the top of page 79. Let's just go ahead and do it here on 78, because some of you are still copying those notes. Number 1. Same picture. Whichever your 1 year is, we're good. Number 10 or 33. And we'll be using, now I think we can go back to the others, because this has a good square, the other one has a good square. They're the same, I think. Rectangles are the same. This one has a somewhat good trapezoid. I've got 4 or 5 different geometers, but I just don't know that I have enough of all of them, but we'll do the best we can. I just try not to draw them by hand. So this one's going to be KLMN. We're going to put a K here, and an L here, and an M, and an N. Now, instead of marking everything, we're just going to say this is a parallelogram. So I'm going to make this side 31. Now, I wish they would put inches or units on it, but they don't. I'm going to put 45 right here for that one. And I'm going to put, I don't remember which one. Oh, it's this one. They put 119 degrees on this one. So they want to know the measure of MN. Okay, that's without the bar. They want to know the measure. They want to know the measure of KN. They want to know the measure of angle K. They want to know the measure of angle N. and they want to know the measure of angle M. And then we need to do an algebra one. We're doing pretty good. This one won't take very long. This is pretty good. Okay. What about the sides? What is MN going to be? MN is a side. You have to be careful. It's going to be 31 because and I wish they had like inches on it or something. MN and LK are going to be the same. That's rule number 3. Opposite sides. Just think of this like a rectangle pushed over. So it's like, you know, a rectangle has sides the same. Push it over. It's a parallelogram. What about KN? 45. Okay. Now here's where I would start. I wouldn't do it in the order they're given. I would do the other angle that's 119. Which of the other angles is going to be 119? N. So if you want to write it here, you can put it here. This is a lesson you may want to print because it could be one you can write on the picture if you need to. You may not if you have to. Now, how can we get these two? Either way, what do I know about two right after each other? Consecutive ones. 180. So if you do 180 minus 119, I believe you get 61 degrees. And this one will be 61, and see this one across from it's 61. Okay, pretty quick. Number 2, need an algebra one. Got to keep you ready for algebra 2 next year. Got to always throw some X's in there. Same picture. That's just the best one. I don't even turn him upside around or anything. I'm just going to draw him like he's given. And we're going to call him QRST. QRST. And I'm going to use arrows, and I'm going to say this one is 3x plus 5 degrees. And I'm going to say this one is 9x minus 17 degrees. Now, the trick on this one is, and they want to know x, and they want to know the measure of angle R. Okay, we'll do it like that. Okay, we're doing good. Now, you have to be careful, because if they give you Q and S, they're equal. But if they give you Q and T, one right after the other, what do I know about these two? They equal 180. So let's do the algebra. 3x plus 5 plus 9x minus 17 equals 180. Now, several of you get messed up because you start moving stuff. If you will clean it up first. Now, watch what I'm going to do. 3x plus 9x is 12x. 5 minus 17 is negative 12 equals 180. You will not have the problems a lot of you do when you start trying to subtract 3x. You're not going to subtract 3x. You're just going to put those together. Clean it up. Now, add 12. And you get 12x equals 192. They should come out even. And I believe x is 16. That's right. Now, how in the world are we going to find angle R? Yeah, angle R and T are the same. So just plug your, 16 in for X because they're the same. And you get 144 minus 17. Now, you make my life easier and your life easier. If you're doing sides, it's not degrees. Sides will not be degrees. Angles are degrees. So if it's asking for angles, put the degrees on it. That makes it a whole lot better. Okay, we got about 5 minutes. I know Zane had a question. I know some of you, I was trying to get your slips finished. I think I got the big ones finished.